Hello everyone, I'm Mary, and I'm a bit late, but this is my May TBR. The first book that I plan on finishing in the month of May, because I'm already reading it, is The Casual Vacancy by J.K. Rowling. I am 200 pages in and I'm enjoying it so far. I thought it was a bit confusing at first because of how many characters there are, but I still think it is a good story and I'm pretty excited to know what is going to happen. The next book that I plan on reading is A Study in Scarlet by Arthur Conan Doyle. I had this book since probably university. I have this in Italian. And I decided to pick this up because of the Pop Sugar reading challenge. I had to read a mystery or a thriller and I chose this one because it's been sitting there for ages. And it is the first story that involves Sherlock Holmes, so I'm excited to read this. Next up we have 1984 by George Orwell. This is my sister's book, unfortunately, because I love these editions. I read Animal Farm last month and I loved it, and it was the first George Orwell book that I've ever read. So I was really looking forward to read more of his work, and I was also supposed to choose a book with a number in the title for the Pop Sugar reading challenge, so I chose 1984. I've already read Brave New World by Huxley and I loved it. So this is supposed to be kind of similar, like a lot of people have been comparing the two, so I'm very curious to get to this one and see, I don't know, if I end up liking both, if I like one more, we'll see. Next up we have The Bride's Farewell by Meg Rosoff. I chose this book again for the Pop Sugar reading challenge. I had to pick a book by an author with my same initials and it was so hard to find. But I remembered reading a book by her, How I Live Now, and I remember liking it, but I was very young, so I don't know about this one. This is a story of a young girl. It is supposed to be, I think, a young adult novel, probably, since it talks about a teenage girl. But yeah, I don't really know. She doesn't want to live the life her mother did, so she decides to take off with her horse the day of her marriage, and the story is supposed to be talking about her running away journey. The premise is pretty interesting and it is set in the 19th century. I hope it's going to be a good read, and it's also a pretty short book, so it won't take me too long. The next book that I plan on reading is The Book Thief by Markus Zusak. I spent way too much time trying to pronounce his last name. I didn't think it would be hard to pronounce. I heard it a lot of times, but yeah, Zusak, right? I have this book in Italian because it was a gift, and I actually have the first edition that was translated, so the title is different. It's not the literal translation. I don't know why they chose this one. They actually changed it back to the actual title right now, but I'm not complaining because I really like the cover art. It looks also kind of pretty inside, so yeah, I'm happy with this edition actually. I know that it is set in Germany in 1939. I know there is a little girl, and it should involve books, right? So yeah, I really don't want to know more about it, and I hope that it deserves all the hype that it got. This is going to be an interesting read. The last book that I plan on reading is also for the Pop Sugar reading challenge. I think the category is something along the lines of a book your friend recommended. I've actually borrowed this book from my friend and it is called, I think, Perfume Story of a Murderer in English. It is translated from German and it is by Patrick Süskind. I've already seen the movie of this book and I remember liking it, although I watched it a long time ago, so I don't really remember anything that happens. But I know it is set in the 18th century and it is the story of a French man who is obsessed with scents, especially women's scent. I'm just going to stop here. I've always wanted to read this book, plus my friend recommended it to me, saying it is one of her favorites books, so I'm looking forward to read this one. Okay, that is it for my May TBR. I'm not even mentioning, although I know that I'm doing it right now, the 5th book in the Outlander series. That will be waiting there. Thank you for watching, and let me know in the comments down below what are you planning on reading this month, and if you read any of the books that I mentioned. I would love to hear your thoughts. Bye!